Hi everybody, this tutorial is designed to show you how to import or replace patron photos in M5. My school uses LifeTouch to take school photos, so I contacted LifeTouch support and got set up with an account. So the first thing you're going to have to do is either get an account, and then once you have the account, you have to use it to log in. So I'm going to use my credentials to log in, which is my school email address. I was able to set my own password. And once you're logged in, your account dashboard looks like this. So what we're looking for is a couple of different things. We can see here where it says Picture Day Resources. You can get them that way. And you've got a couple of messages here saying that your image stream is available and new images are available. A lot of those links will take you back to the same place. But I'm going to go over here to where it says Download Images and Data. And the big pause, I imagine, is everybody from my school is getting loaded in. And it sure did. It says 1 of 50 is 603, so I can tell those are all my students plus my staff members that the database had to retrieve. So let me just make this a little bit bigger so we can see out some more. So what we have to do now is we have to get all of these photos and export them. So up here on the right-hand side, it says Available Action, right? So what we want to do before we click there is say Select All. And it's going to process, it's going to select all my photos. So I see check marks on all of them. Okay, let me see if I can slide this over a little bit more. There we go. So you can see there's check marks on all of them. And what we want to do once we've selected all of those records, so you can tell up here I've got 603, is pull this tab down and say Download. Now I'm going to get a bunch of options and types of formats that I want to select. The one I'm after is Images Only. So you have to scroll down a little bit where it says Go to Global, and down towards the bottom it says Images Only. So I'll select that, and then I'm going to select on Download. Now when I click Download, just be aware it's going to take a few minutes for everything to come down onto your computer. So I'll click Download. I'll show you what the process looks like when it starts. And I believe it's happening right now. I get a message that says I'm missing student ID for 58 of the 603 students. Those are the staff members. So don't worry about that. As these photos download to your computer, they'll all be in a zip folder, and each file will be named by the student ID number. So Mandarin uses the student ID number as a patron record ID. So the photo will have the student ID number as the JPEG identifier. So of course, staff members don't have student IDs, so those 58 people are going to be missing student IDs, which we're okay with, so we'll say yes to that. And it's going to take a few minutes. So I'm going to pause this screencast for a second. I'll come back when things have finished downloading. So I waited about 1 or 2 minutes, and up popped this box, which means I have my image files, and it looks like they're going to go in a zip folder. And the name of it's Data Images, which is fine. So I'll leave it how it is. It's going to go to my desktop. So I'll click on Save. And this will download that information onto my local machine. So now I have all my JPEGs ready to go. And I can head back to Mandarin and work on uploading them into circulation. Just one more small detour before we go ahead back to Mandarin and upload those images. One thing that I forgot we had to do was take our images out of a zip folder. You have to extract them out of the zip folder and isolate the JPEGs. It's not all that hard to do. It's just a couple of steps. So that right now they're living inside of this, what we just downloaded where it says Data Images. So I'm going to right click and say Open With, and then Windows Explorer works for this. And then there's my folder that says Catherine McNamara Elementary School, and a folder called Images, and then there's all my pictures that I need. Now, when I go back to Mandarin and try to grab all these, it's only going to grab the zip folder and it won't work. It needs all these files individually. So we got to get them out of the zip folder first. So here's what we do. I'm going to back out of here for a second, back to where we started. And within this same downloads folder to your desktop or wherever you want to do it, I'm going to do them right near each other so we can see them both at the same time. I'm just going to right click and make a new folder. And I'm going to call this Student Images 2017. So basically I'm going to extract the images from the zip folder into this folder so I can grab them individually. So I'm going to go back in, right click, say Open with, Windows Explorer, same path we just followed earlier, all the way to Images. Here's my 603 pictures. I'm going to click on the first one, and then I'm going to hold down on my keyboard Control and hold Control and at the same time press A, and that's a way to grab them all. And then I'll right click and say Copy, and then I'm going to back myself out and then open up that folder that I just made called Student Images 2017 and right click and paste. And this will take 30 seconds to a minute. It's going to copy all those files from the zip folder into that folder that we just made. So after about a minute or two, you'll have all your images copied over into that new folder that you just made. I can tell all 603 are there for me right now. So the next step is to head back to Mandarin. So head back to your library catalogs. Let me get mine open. And then go ahead and sign in. And once you're signed in, I know earlier I said that the images go into circulation, and that's true, but that's not the tool that you use or the module that you use in order to upload your patron images. The correct module for that is cataloging tools. So where it says catalog, pull down that little triangle and then click on cataloging tools. And as soon as that loads along the left hand side, you'll see a link for this called Pictures Upload. Let's go ahead and click on that. And we're going to upload all those pictures right now. First we need to browse our computer. So we're going to go back to that folder that we created. I believe it was in my downloads folder. Yep, and we made that folder called Student Images 2017. So there it is. And I'm going to open it all back up, and there's all my kids. So now what I want to do is grab a hold of all these photos at once. So we're going to use that Control-A command on our keyboard. So I'm going to click on my first student here. And by the way, you can see the file name is their student ID number. So earlier when I was babbling on and on about how Mandarin uses the student ID number as the patron record identifier, that's the connection I was trying to make. So I'm going to grab that first photo, and then on my keyboard I'm going to go back and press Control and then at the same time A, and it's going to grab all of them. Now this is where I panicked earlier because I didn't see every single file name down in the box here, but fear not, it'll still work. Just as long as there's a light blue highlight around each file, and it can go all the way to the end. Don't feel bad if you're grabbing a hold of teachers too. They have missing student IDs, and that's fine. They won't show up in your system. Their photos won't show up in your system, but this is just for students, and that's all I was after anyways. So I'm going to press Open. And again, I was confused originally because it looks like I've only got one file here. I saw one student ID, and I thought, oh no, how do I grab them all? I'm just changing one photo. But fear not, all of the files are there. So the final step is just to click Upload. And then Mandarin will start to process that data. This could take anywhere from 1 to maybe 5 minutes. So if you want to go take a break, go to the bathroom, get some water, go shelve some books, you come back in a few minutes, and after that data processes, you can check circulation, and your patron photos should be changed from their prior year to the current year. So back after my small break, before I headed back to circulation, after it processed all that data, I got an import summary, and it said I was I had 545 successfully imported, and those are my students. Now the errors were all my staff. You can see their file names where it says missing student ID. Staff doesn't have student IDs. They're in your catalog a different way. You can manually import those. That's a whole other tutorial. I'm not even going to worry about it because I'm most interested in my students on a day-to-day basis and seeing their faces when they come up to checkout books. So if you get this error message that says records not found, and then you see that how they're missing student ID, those are your teachers. And again, I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to bypass that. And I am going to click down at the bottom where it says OK. And I'm going to head back out of advanced cataloging. Back into circulation. And once you're in circulation, go ahead and call up a student. I'm going to bring up that same student as I had before. Their photo won't change because I've already gone through this process, but if you've successfully gone through this process that we just did together, you should notice a change in your student photos from the previous year to this year. And that's really it. Hope it works for you. Reach out to me. If it doesn't, good luck.